second part is, they say the pull, right? Like you hear Danny say in the race, legs, legs, legs. If you ever got a chance to watch him paddle on the video, it looks like he takes both his arms out here, locks the paddle in, and all he does is push off his legs and the body follows the rest. So you kind of think of his legs should do the work first, then your body, which is your lats, core, and kind of the arms really just get the blade out of the water. Does that make sense? So anytime you break an arm, you start using smaller muscles. The goal is to use the larger muscle groups. Because anybody can go fast for 100 meters or a quarter of a mile. When you got to go 10, 20 miles, it's the person that is efficient that's going to be called up the longest.
No, I mean, Johnny said it right on. I always look at it, the more muscles you use, the better off you are. And the bigger muscles you use, the better off you are. I found that 99% of the time after a really hard race, the things that hurt the most are my legs, my lats, mostly my legs. But like Johnny said, once you set the blade, if you think of that door analogy where you put your foot up and you start turning and yanking, everything actually initiates for me from the legs and that leg drive. You can do it in a one-man, you can do it in a six-man by putting whatever side you're on that leg forward, locking the other leg underneath the seat, and then you can actually almost, we use the analogy pole vaulting, stick the paddle in and then almost driving yourself up off your legs and forward. So it's tough because a lot of people will figure out how to use the legs and then figure out how to use the core and figure out everything in between. But the hardest part is getting them all to fire together or all to kind of complement each other. So I think the easiest way is start from the legs, then work your way up through the core, and then if you need to catch a wave and for whatever reason you have to, you can throw an arm in there too. It's probably not the best idea, but if you catch the wave, you always go faster.
Okay, so you have your catch, which is your first part of your stroke, your pull, which is the second, and the third part, which I think is one of the most important parts, is your exit. Because if you pull too far back, especially if you're in a team boat, a six-man or a double, you will kill the boat. And you get a lot of big guys that will jump in a boat, and they'll be rough, so strong, but pulling a little too far back, and that boat just won't run. It'll feel really rough. It's because usually someone's pulling too far back. And rule of thumb, I kind of think, when your elbow reaches your torso, you start your exit. And that way, usually pulls your blade out right at about your hip. Because anything past here is no longer powerful. It's heavy, it feels strong, but it's no longer powerful. And if you look at anything else, if you have a lot of power this way pulling, but you're never going to try to push something this way behind you. So if you're grabbing here and pushing behind you, you have very, very little power. The idea is to go fast without working as hard. You look at the guys who are really fast and everybody says, he wasn't even working. This guy is working so hard, pulling harder than probably anyone out there, but the thing is he's just efficient and it's using the right muscles so it looks easy. So never think that Carell's just kind of cruising when he goes by you at 10 knots. I mean, the guy is working really hard.
Yeah, like Johnny said, once your elbow hits your torso, it's time to start your exit. And at that point, a lot of people say, oh, well, you pull really far back. And if your paddle comes back past your hips and ends up back here, well, sometimes that happens. But once your elbow hits here, you're not really pulling anymore. You're done with it. And all you're doing is trying not to screw up all the work and effort you just put into getting your boat to run. So your paddle will follow through and come out. But once your elbow hits your torso, you're pretty much done with your power phase, done with your stroke. And all you're doing is letting the boat release, glide, and set yourself up for the next stroke.
Any questions?